One of the bands, which emerged in the post-punk era in the early 80s, was a little-known underground band called Toxic Moth from Wirral. Formed as remnants of local rock cover bands, Toxic Moth's aim was simply to write their own material with no specific genre in mind.
So my earliest recollection of meeting up with Tony was in a band called Hayes. And I'd been asked to join by Tim Lintz, who I was at youth theatre with, who was an unpredictable bassist who of limited ability, shall we say, who also never, ever learned his parts. And we used to get a tape every week of the songs that we were covering. They're all covers. I remember Throw Down the Sword. I remember Brain Damage, I think. We did Do Anything You Want to Do by Eddie and the Hot Rods. With a couple of Beatles songs and a few others. Pete Turner on drums, who I think was at school with Tony. Or certainly Tony knew his brother, I think. That's right. And then there was Kev Carey. And that's all I can remember. I think we only ever managed 2 gigs. One was at Irby Methodist Church Hall, and one was at a place in Oxton near the Arno somewhere. I remember borrowing keyboards from Greg Williams at the art college, and then I had my own little Yamaha CS5, which was only capable of 1 note at a time, so it wasn't a great contribution really. But I did manage to blag a piano off Greg Williams, which was quite useful. And yeah, I think after the second gig, we decided that a change of personnel was in the offing. So we instantly ditched Tim Lintz and Pete Turner, and then started scratching about for another drummer and another bassist. And I think Kev knew Mick Valerio. I think that was Kev's connection. He came along. He was a better bassist, but was equally unpredictable and had his own set of foibles, which we had to deal with. And then we had a succession of drummers before. I think I suggested someone I'd been at school with, Dave Barrington, who was from a band that Neil Stenhouse was involved with at the time.
The original lineup was Dave Barrington on drums, Gareth Edwards bass, Tony Richardson guitar, Keith Thompson vocals, and Huw Williams on keyboards.
And that's when we started writing our own stuff. And we used to have a loud practice on a Sunday at Tony's factory where his dad worked. And then we'd have a kind of more experimental kind of acoustic practice midweek sometime around at someone's house, where the ideas would be developed and try and fit guitar parts into keyboard parts and vice versa. And Keith would listen, maybe hum along a vocal line. And and that all kind of seemed to gel quite well, and we seemed to have similar, if not necessarily similar influences, but similar melodic kind of ideas, which doesn't always happen. And that's where the Toxic Moth product started to blossom. And we started gigging, and on the back of some gigs, we practiced a lot. And I remember going to Frank Bielekey's drum shop cellar, I think it was. We went through the set 4 times there in a day before our first gig, and we recorded each of the sets that we did, and then went round to someone's house the following day and analysed them, what could be made better, what could be. So we were testing ourselves all the time. I think we did some practice at the Corndon House studio as well, in one of the rehearsal rooms there. So we put a lot of work in before we actually put ourselves on stage, and frankly, having been in Hayes and being a bit underprepared, a bit under-rehearsed, and having a bassist who didn't know the bass line, stuff like that, I thought, I don't really want to be in that place again. So we made sure we were doing things in tune with each other, and it showed. It worked.
When I was first looking at it, I think I'd been playing the bass for 3-4 years. And I'd been in a band really that was just a jam band, and we essentially just did like Hawkwind covers and things. It was nothing serious. And